It's the kind of quiet curtain call that feels both inevitable and achingly abrupt, isn't it? This morning, October 3rd, 2025, the world of British comedy and stage lost a true grande dame, Patricia Routledge, the incomparable force behind Hyacinth Bucket's candlelit dinners and Hetty Wainthropp's sleuthing resolve. Slipped away peacefully in her sleep at the age of 96. Surrounded by love in her Chichester home, where she'd made her nest since 2000, her agent confirmed the news with a statement that captured her enduring spark. Even at 96, her passion for connecting with audiences never dimmed. No cause was publicly detailed beyond a short illness, but in true Patricia fashion, it was a gentle exit for a woman whose life roared with vitality, from wartime basements to Broadway spotlights. You can almost hear her now, that crisp, commanding voice quipping about the deserving poor, or launching into a soliloquy, leaving us to chuckle through the tears. It's a loss that echoes across generations, from fans who memorized every bouquet pronunciation to theatergoers who marveled at her range. But let's not fade to black just yet. Let's roll the reels back to the girl from Birkenhead who turned everyday eccentricity into eternal art, because Patricia's story is a masterclass in mischief, mastery, and the quiet joys that kept her grounded amid the applause. Born Catherine Patricia Routledge on February 17, 1929, in the bustling port town of Birkenhead, Cheshire, just across the Mersey from Liverpool's gritty hum, Patricia entered a world still scarred by economic shadows. The only daughter and third child of Catherine Perry Routledge and Isaac Edgar Routledge. Her father, a haberdasher and gentleman's outfitter whose shop was both livelihood and shelter, embodied that working-class resilience. During World War II splits, the family hunkered in the basement for weeks, dodging bombs while Catherine kept spirits afloat with stories and songs. Alongside her brother Graham, Patricia grew up in that tight-knit haven, her early years a blend of choir rehearsals at Birkenhead High School, where she ran the Sunday school with a budding authority, and dreams sparked by radio dramas crackling through the airwaves. Education was her launchpad, a degree with honors in English language and literature from the University of Liverpool, followed by the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, where her natural flair for accents and timing turned heads. London beckoned in the 1950s, her stage debut in regional reps leading to West End triumphs, and a Broadway bow from 1966 to 1968, where she shone in musicals and Shakespeare alike. The 1960s brought screen silver, her film debut into Sir, with Love opposite Sidney Poitier in 1967, playing a sharp-tongued teacher with that signature bite, Then Don't Raise the Bridge. Lower the River with Jerry Lewis in 1968, her comic timing a perfect foil to his chaos. Television wove in early, guest spots on Steptoe and Son and Coronation Street. But the 1980s and 90s crowned her queen of comedy. Alan Bennett's Talking Heads monologues, where her portrayals of lonely eccentrics dripped with poignant wit. Then Hetty Wainthropp Investigates from 1996 to 1998. Her no-nonsense detective charming audiences with pluck and pipe-smoking resolve. But it was keeping up appearances from 1990 to 1995 that immortalized her as Hyacinth Bucket, pronounced Bouquet, the snobbish suburbanite whose pretensions and pratfalls drew up to 13 million viewers, earning BAFTA nods in 1992 and 1993. Stage accolades piled high, a Tony tie in 1968 for Darling of the Day, an Olivier for Candide in 1988 as the Old Lady, and decades with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Tackling Lady Bracknell in the importance of being earnest or monarchical might with regal relish. Honors followed, OB in 1993, CBE in 2004, damehood in 2017 for services to theater and charity, plus honorary memberships and freedoms like Wirral's in January 2025. Even into her 90s, she narrated The Carnival of the Animals in 2010, toured one-woman shows like Facing the Music, and championed English song through the Association of English Singers and Speakers. Patricia's arc wasn't a straight line to stardom, it was a character study in versatility. From wartime survivor to national treasure, her husky timbre and twinkling mischief turning every role into a revelation. At the core of it all, though, was a family that shaped her without stealing the scene, a modest circle she guarded like a well-rehearsed soliloquy, close, cherished, but never center stage. The only child in the spotlight as an adult, she grew up doted on by Catherine and Isaac, her parents' wartime huddles forging a bond of quiet fortitude. Graham, her brother, shared those Birkenhead days. Their sibling rapport a foundation she'd later credit for her ease with ensemble casts. Never married and childless by choice, I'm an actress, and I wanted to take on the stories of other people, she once confided. Patricia poured her affections into friendships and extended kin, her life a solo act enriched by chosen family. No dramatic romances or airs in the headlines. Instead, it was the warmth of old colleagues like Clive Swift from Keeping Up Appearances, or her patronage of causes that felt like kin, the Beatrix Potter Society, Royal Voluntary Service, where she mentored young performers as a surrogate aunt. In Chichester, her adopted home, she was a community stalwart, supporting the Festival Theatre for 5 decades and connecting with locals over tea and theatre talk, her devoted admirers an extended embrace. Losses came gently, parents long passed, no public griefs, but her circle endured, from Betty Boothroyd's funeral where her recording of Climb Every Mountain played in 2023, to quiet visits from theatre folk in her final years at Wellington Grange Care Home. It was a family of facets, blood ties in memory, professional bonds in laughter, charitable kin in purpose. Proving that for a dame of her caliber, love was the ultimate standing ovation, shared not in spotlights, but in the wings. That love laced her lifestyle too, a blend of theatrical flair and unassuming grace that felt as English as a cuppa at curtain rise, elegant yet earthy, devoted to the craft without the trappings of excess. From 2000, Chichester was her stage door, a life in West Sussex's leafy lanes, latterly at Wellington Grange Care Home, where she savored the town's cobbled charm and proximity to the festival theatre she adored. No mansions or motorcades, her net worth sat comfortably at around $2.5 million, built from decades of royalties, Keeping Up Appearances reruns still drawing fans' stage salaries, and that 1968 Tony-winning turn. But spent on passions like mentoring and charity, not extravagance. Mornings might mean a gentle walk through Chichester's close, pondering scripts or humming show tunes, afternoons lost in one-woman tours like Facing the Music, where she delved into her musical roots with infectious insight. Evenings? A light supper of shepherd's pie or tea with a book, perhaps Bennett's Words or Potter's Tales, her voice preserved for occasional narrations, like the Carnival of the Animals. Health in her later years was mindful. A lifetime of stage stamina kept her spry into her 90s, though retirement whispers came after 2005, shifting to honorary roles and red carpet cameos. Philanthropy was her encore, ambassadorships for arts education, sponsoring song prizes till the end, her 2017 damehood a nod to that selfless spark. Politically understated, she championed clarity in speech and song through groups like the Association of English Singers and Speakers, her home a haven of scripts and solitude, Kensington visits in younger days giving way to Sussex serenity. It was a life of poised pauses, the roar of applause fading to the rustle of pages, where fortune favored the footlights over finery, and every day held a cue for connection. But the anecdotes, those sparkling asides that make you smile mid-sob, revealing the dame with a diva's wit and a down-to-earth wink, the actress who turned mishaps into monologues. Remember her Keeping Up Appearances run, where Hyacinth's floral obsessions had co-star Clive Swift in Stitches Off Camera, Patricia quipping, "If I hear bouquet once more, I'll need a real candlelit supper to recover a bond that lasted beyond the series." Their reunions fodder for fond interviews. Or that Tony-winning darling of the day in 1968, tying with Leslie Uggams in a historic split, where she'd laugh about Broadway's bustle. I shared the prize, but kept the crown for comedy. Family flashes were tender, wartime basement tales with Graham, turning air raid drills into dramatic reenactments that honed her timing, or Catherine's choir lessons echoing in her Candide Olivier triumph. She'd chuckle about her Hetty Wainthropp pipe, a prop that became a talisman. Hetty smoked. I didn't. But the character kept me lit. Regrets? Few, save perhaps the solitude she embraced. Marriage? The stage was my suitor, and it never disappointed. Even at 96, her agent noted that passion never waned, new generations discovering her through reruns while she mentored from the wings. Tributes today, from the BBC's heartfelt nod to her supreme actress, ranged to Chichester's claim as their treasure affirm it. Her $2.5 million was mere props next to the laughter she lavished, the eccentrics she humanized, the way she made pretension a punchline we all needed. As we dim the house lights on Dame Patricia Routledge's dazzling decades, from Birkenhead bombs to Chichester calm, a life of lines delivered with luminous life, I hope it leaves you with that warm, wry glow, a rewatch of Hyacinth's hilarity, a tip of the hat to the unsung siblings in our stories, or simply embracing your own inner eccentric with unapologetic flair. She proved comedy's core is heart, turning snobbery into sympathy and stages into sanctuaries. If her sparkle stirred a chuckle or a cheer, give this a like to keep the curtain up, and subscribe for more tributes to the talents that endure. What's your favorite Hyacinth howler? Thanks for the ovation, break a leg, and take care.